Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to clean and use mushrooms, and specifically how to broil it like how you see in my videos. So first step, I already did a few. So this is a big full pot in restaurants, but what I do, bowl of water, and you're basically cleaning all the dirt, all the poo-poo off the mushrooms. Now why they say not to do this? Because it makes them brown. I personally don't care. But anyways, I was about to say it in French. I am then removing the stems. You could cut them with the stems, but for this technique, it's safer to do it without. When you have a little bit more experience, go ahead, use the stems. I'll cut them at the same time, I mean. So, they have been destemmed. Now, I like to sharpen my knives before I start doing this because a sharp knife is very nice. Remember, you're cutting it at the angles that you sharpen. I'm going to have a video on how to sharpen your knives later. So, how I'm doing it is the standard technique. You're putting the tip of your knife at the bottom of the board, and you're just doing slices, kind of like this. Now, I try to make it as thin as possible. You don't have to go crazy. It's not, it's not the end of the world if they're a bit thick, but for this technique, it's nicer if they're thinner. So I'm cutting it like that. There's also another way. You could also cut it this way. I don't suggest it. Basically, I'm just going to show you. So you're holding your knife kind of like this, and instead of doing this technique, you're kind of doing this technique. So you're basically going like that. I don't like that technique because not all the pieces break up, but in some situations it helps. It also hurts your hand a little bit more. So that's done. Now the stems, it's the same process. You just gotta be a bit more careful, and you're just going that way. And what I sometimes do, I kind of bend my knife a little bit when I'm doing it to go a little bit of an angle, because it is a smaller piece. So what ends up happening is it kind of falls on itself. You see what I mean? And then it's super easy to cut. So this part's almost done. The next part's going to be how to cook them. So what I'm doing now, I'm using the hottest pan that I can. You want intense heat, because what happens is if your heat is not strong enough, it kind of turns all liquidy. You do not want that. You want them nice brown and seared. So I'm going to put the tiniest bit of oil. You don't have to put a crazy amount. You could also put garlic oil. You could season the mushrooms however you want. When you're using these kinds of ingredients for, let's say, mushroom omelets or anything like that, specifically each thing should be seasoned properly. It should be tasting well. Because if multiple things taste well, the end result will always be amazing. So this is my bowl. Now, it's very important you don't overcrowd your mushrooms in the pan. What does that mean? It means just piling a bunch of stuff on it. You want to kind of have one level, because then that means it's not going to turn to mush. Because if you have too much and it's not cooking at an intense heat, all that liquid is going to come out and it's not going to be super nice. I'm going to turn my camera in a second. Let me just see. I think that's okay. That's nice. Okay. How can you tell if your pan's hot enough? Lots of smoke. I'm starting to see a tiny bit now, but it's not hot enough. Now, I'm going to cook it in batches. So basically, I'm going to take this bowl that I have that was with poo-poo water. I'm going to give it a little bit of a rinse. What's important is you don't have residual water. I'm just going to take a napkin because that's what grabs the most water, in my opinion. And it's disposable, so I don't have to wash it. So, nice clean bowl. Keep that on the side. I'm going to do the mushrooms in batches, like I said, so it does not get super liquidy. Super important. What you're doing in between the cleanings, you could also take like a rag or something and wipe down all that extra brown. You don't want that in the mushroom. You want it naturally, right? So the pan's getting kind of hot. You want to be super, super careful. You're going to grab some mushrooms. And you don't want to just shoot them in. You want to gently place them. You see, it's starting to spark a bit. Right? So now what I'm going to do, grab a spatula. Just going to give it a quick rinse. I was cooking to the top earlier and then not wash it. So basically, what you're gonna do, you're gonna separate the mushrooms. You're kind of gonna hit it a little bit with the tip of your spatula. Just to separate as much as possible, you want one layer, right? So, you could season it during or you could season it after. I'm gonna season it almost at the end. The oil is gonna grab that extra salt and then it's not gonna be seasoned properly. I like to add salt and pepper, but depending on what I'm doing next, I could also put rosemary, I could put herbe de Provence, I could put a lot of different stuff in there. So, this is the official classical way how to make the seared mushrooms. This is the lazy super way, how I normally do it. I grab a whole bunch of mushrooms, flatten it out, I put it under the broiler. Under the broiler, it almost has a 0 chance of actually burning. You can leave it there for a couple minutes, it's gonna dry out. Every few minutes what you do, you take it out, you give it a little bit of a mix to make sure it's all even cooking, and you break it up, flatten it, put it back in. So, what you see here, see this color? This is the color you want. It's a nice dark brown. Beautiful, beautiful color. I'm going to be using this for an omelet dish, but I want to show each and every step of how I do it so that you guys can do it at home. Now, I'm going to season a little bit because it's going to be close-ish to be done. Notice my pan, there's almost no liquid inside. It's only because I put so little. I'm going to show you the next batch I'm going to do. I'm going to put a lot and you're going to see the difference. Just so you could see how important it is not to clutter. Oh man, what beautiful colors. The thing that I like about this technique, instead of the broiling technique, you get that sear, that beautiful sear, and that smell is just there. Broiling it, for me, it's a lot easier, more practical, and it's just even cooking. This could burn. So you gotta be careful. I'm gonna leave it as is. This is perfect for what I'm gonna use it for. Keep in mind, you always want a bowl there next to you so you can add in all the finished product. Now, like I said, in between you can clean it. You can use a rag, be super, super careful. It's insanely hot. So, I'm just going and I'm grabbing all that extra oil. Kind of like that. Look how disgusting that is. I'm putting it back on my element. I am reapplying some oil. And now my pan is already very hot. So I don't need to worry as much about getting it hot again. Like I said, this is not the proper way to do it. I'm putting a lot in just for you to see how liquidy it gets. See, like, this is how someone would do it at home that doesn't really know. It's not the worst thing in the world, but the thing is, you're gonna get liquid. It's not gonna have a nice sear, and I'm gonna show you. I'm still going to try and follow the same techniques, flat as possible. Now, I can already see the liquid that's there, okay? Watch. See all that liquid? That's basically, the pan is not hot enough to actually expel all the extra moisture from the mushrooms, so it just adds and adds and adds. So what you're doing right now, you're not actually searing the mushrooms, you're boiling it, and you do not want to do that. See, look. That was at the very bottom, right? Look, there's almost no sear. Look at all that liquid that's there. So at this point, what I'm going to do, because I could theoretically still do the broiling way now. So I'm going to take my pan, and I'm going to put it directly in the broiler. And I'm going to shut off the heat because that's going to conclude my video. Just to show you visually, it's a lot nicer when you just sear it individually. And you don't have to pile too much. You have too much liquid, it's not going to be super nice to your palate. What I'm doing now is the lazy way. That's how I normally do it. But it's going to take a few minutes, so I'm not going to be able to show you guys. But you could see it actually in the next video that I'm going to make is going to be the omelet. You're going to see the end results of how those mushrooms turned out. So I love each and every one of you. Thank you super much for watching these videos. Like, subscribe at the bottom if you did like the video. The next one will be how I make my unorthodox omelet, and I hope you guys can see it. Bye-bye for now. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!